Good evening and welcome to the Communication Commission meeting for Wednesday, September 11th, 2013 at 7 p.m. We will call the meeting to order actually at 7:25 p.m. Has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda as presented?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Any amendments or corrections?
No.
Okay, and do I have a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
I second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, great, and it is passed. Approval of the minutes for the August 14th, 2013 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review?
Yes.
Any corrections or additions? I did have one. It's a small thing. Ted mentioned the extra charge would be $480 for an additional person. It's actually $80, but I negotiated with them, and there's no extra charge now. We have 8 people now. So that's taken care of.
So
It would have been $80, but
Okay.
if you don't want to change it, because it doesn't matter anyways.
Well, it reflects what was said
Okay.
during the meeting.
Then it's
So what we can do is, under your chairman report,
Okay.
reflect that negotiation took place.
Okay, negotiation took place. All righty, great. Do I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Sharon, and second?
I'll second.
Lauren, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion passed.
Can I just clarify something? The last item, approval of agenda, who made the motion? Was it Lauren? or
Yep.
Sharon? Okay. Just now, your voices sounded so similar that I thought, no, I'll make sure I got it right, so.
Okay, and now reports of board and standing commission. Our liaison, Mrs. Smith.
Only the one thing, and the exciting news that last night, or on Monday, I should say, the board unanimously approved Revise to become our website provider. So
That's very
that
good.
was very exciting moving forward.
Very happy.
Yep, and that's it for me.
Okay, Ted?
I just have a couple things. First of all, before you leave tonight, stop by the room and check out the Phase 1 improvement. The TriCaster was installed on Friday and Monday. As I told Lauren tonight, we're using it, but are going to get trained on it tomorrow, so
Details.
we're faking it tonight. Phase 2, the business I want to accomplish today is Phase 2 of our purchases is for the Airwave playback system. The quote that's in your, with the Airwave information is the quote that they sent me this week. So that's the up-to-date quote. It's a sole source item. Ballmer puts this package together, puts this equipment together. And what I'd like to do is just get a recommendation. It's already been approved through the budgetary process as part of the 3-prong equipment upgrade that we're going to do this year. This is Phase 2. And just to repeat, what it does is it sends out our signal in high def and numerous other possibilities. Basically, it's a playback system. And as I remind you, is our playback system right now, one half of it belongs to the Playtronics right now because our original equipment's broken. And they gave us a loaner
Years ago,
years
right?
ago, and we're still using it. Now, what I plan to do with the old equipment is upgrade the school's playback possibility. If we pull it out and it's still working and I can reinstall it, the school will finally have the ability to record in high def and then play this back. Right now, they are going live on the meeting date and not showing anything else. So it'll 24/7 their playback capability. So it'll.
Ted, I don't want to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
I want to be able to write more of what you're saying, but I missed what you said before. So you had said that the Airwave sends our signal in high def to, and then you say it's our playback system, but what does it send?
It sends a signal to Comcast while Granik is basically, it's the timer that turns on the hard drive to show the shows. And the other thing it's going to be is right now we are editing, converting it to DVD, bringing the DVD into the control room, recording the DVD to the hard drive. What it's going to allow us to do is edit, put it on a thumb disk, bring it in, plug it in, and download it. So it's going to save us in real time. If it's a half an hour show, it's going to save us an hour and a half. Or if it's a longer football game, it's going to save us 4 hours or 5 hours to download it. So.
Ted, when you prepared the budget, and was this pretty much in line with what you thought?
It's cents less or dollars.
So it's right in line.
And it could, I told Donna, I talked to him on Monday, this is a system that they recommend. We're going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and see if we absolutely need everything and see if we can pare it down even more. I mean, so it might come down $500 or $600, but this is the system you and I went and saw, all the buttons and bells and whistles, and there's some DV recording capability we might be able to do without because it's redundant.
But it's still within, yeah, so we're fine on that.
This is within the budget
Great.
that we presented in the board approved March.
Ted, on page 3, it lists, is the bid that we're looking at here, the Airwave 2 playout automation system with 720 hours storage playback for $14,337 plus shipping?
Plus training. Installation.
So the total that we're looking for to approve
It was
is?
14,400.
Okay.
14,495 or 14, I don't know what's on there.
So
I
I'm,
gave all my copies to, I should have kept them.
Yeah, true. You did. Does anybody have any questions for Ted?
Ted, I have a question. Wasn't there talk about having the school merge some of their equipment with ours?
They had a meeting the second or third week of August behind closed doors in business meeting. And Tony Krakowski sent me an email saying that at this time they do not want to move their equipment over. By the way, there is storm warnings, and the gentleman in the meeting downstairs asked me where the tornado shelter is.
So you know where it's at?
The bathrooms.
Okay, downstairs.
under the stairwell,
You and Rich, we go to one, they can go to the other.
right under this podium.
Now, we're all going to lock arms and hold on to the
It doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't.
We'll speed this up.
Yeah. My only question, I'm sorry, did you get your answer?
Yes.
Okay. My only question is, okay, so after phase 2, when do you think phase 3 is going to be initiated?
As soon as it's installed, as soon as it's installed and we get trained out,
Okay.
come back to, I'll send it, this phase 3, I'm gonna send out the bids, because phase 3 is a 3-camera replacement.
Right.
With 3 cameras here, and we've got an initial bid for it, but, we got a system that was put together, but we'll send it out like we did the TriCaster and see if we can get a better price.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, Lauren, I'm confused now, Ted. What was phase 2?
Phase 2 is the playback system.
This-
Phase
Oh, that's the
1
Airwave, okay.
Yeah, basically the way we did this, and it's worked out, coincidence, I guess is part of life. We set a priority, and our global caster did die on us right as it should have, just as we sent out the bids for the TriCaster. And the second thing we don't even own anymore, the playback system needs to be replaced, and the third thing is going to be the camera system. So.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
The other thing is that we are coming along with the police project that the commission came here and told you about. Over the last 2 weekends, we've been showing the animal control, we call them shorts. We just finished one for DARE, the DARE process. They showed it at the police commission last night, approved it, so with one exception, the chief thought he was reading too much, so we're going to have to edit, make him look better. So we have 2 shorts done, and today we finished the raw edit for the documentary on the 100 years of the police department. We just have to take some more B-roll and drop a few more pictures in, and we hope to start showing that on the 15th of October.
Okay.
So we're online for that, so that project is coming. And the other thing is that Kathy had me go to Water's Edge and meet a gentleman named Neil. I guess one of the projects going forward for the Communications Commission is going to be Wi-Fi. And so I just wanted to give some thoughts before you guys discuss it. Wi-Fi is a service that us old-timers can do without, but the young generation can't. Things that I've learned, Water's Edge has a marina. All marinas, I guess, have Wi-Fi service. One of the calculations for you guys to remember is that just because there's one boat doesn't mean that's one user. That means there's a boat there with usually a girlfriend and boyfriend or husband and wife. And that means there's 2 iPads, and that means there's 2 cell phones, so there's 4 devices. And if they have any children, that means there's 3 DS, whatever that is, and there's phones. So you might have 57 slips, or I think that's the proper term.
57 or 59?
But you probably should set it up for 150 to 200 users, because 200 devices. Right now, Water's Edge has Wi-Fi service from the street to behind the pool. From the building to behind the pool, Recreation Department has it. It's under Water's Edge, and you need a password. And they use it primarily for the register for the pool. The Sharkies provide, I think, 2 Wi-Fi services under, was it Linksys, and they pay for that. And that service kind of goes to the road. Now, if you're sitting in the marina facing the clubhouse, you can barely pick up the service. If you turn around and face the water, you're not going to pick up the service. So what has to be done, and it probably won't be done this fall, is that the will of the board, the will of REC and us, is that we want to put Wi-Fi there, and 2, we have gotten a couple initial bids, not bids or quotes. One of them came in at $14,000, but I think that included a couple other things which I'll bring up. And we got one for the marina today for a little over $9,000. The other things that you're going to have to consider as a township is, do we want to put Wi-Fi at Centennial Park? I know personally, I brought my wife an iPad for Christmas, and I took her to Centennial Farm in the spring, and guess what? She wasn't happy because her Christmas gift didn't work at Centennial Farm because there's no Wi-Fi over there. So, do we want to put Wi-Fi there? Do we want to put Wi-Fi on the corner of Macomb Commons where we have events and stuff like that? How much Wi-Fi do we want to put here? More and more vendors at Island Fest are spread all over. They want a wireless service. And every year the gala requests Wi-Fi service for charging for their auction right here. And there's a cost. So what we need to do as a board, and this is Gail's already told me, with the communications, we've changed their name. So it's going to fall under us and our department to probably 2 things. 1, take the leadership role in what we're going to do for Wi-Fi, and B, it's probably going to come out of our budget. So.
I was just gonna,
Well, if it comes out, there's always cross-charging.
I'm just saying that that's the initial suggestion.
Well, I mean, I know we're not having the discussion yet, but I'm just curious, again, I'm not big into these kind of devices, but there's talk about our phones eventually becoming their own hotspots.
They are.
They already are.
They already are?
Yeah, you can, if yours is open, I can actually, with my laptop, tap onto yours and use you as my internet connection, which will slow you down.
Here's my hotspot right there, mobile data. Mobile data.
And if it's not secure, anybody can
Well,
bounce
let's
off
check
of it.
that out after the meeting.
We'll get to that.
But it uses a lot of your battery life, and in some cases, doesn't it cost extra money?
Oh, absolutely.
It uses your data plan. It
Yeah.
uses your
Probably
data
did.
plan.
But we can get to that when we get into the
Well,
agenda.
that's just one of the things that, we're working on, it's been discussed. So, just to bring you up to speed, that those are the things I learned, and those are probably some of the things that we should keep in the back of our minds when we discuss it. The last thing, and I know I informed you in July, is that I will be here for the October meeting, but I will not be here for November the 2nd. We can have a meeting somewhere else, but the second Wednesday.
Okay, we'll adjust.
All right,
We'll adjust.
all right, so anyway,
Thank you.
that's what I got now.
Would somebody like to make a motion regarding the airwave?
Well, I actually took the liberty to write a motion,
Okay?
and I think that's why I asked so many questions. I would like to make a motion to recommend to the Township Board that it approve the bid from Telsystems for the Airwave 2 HD for $14,425, a sole source item, and a budgeted expense.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion has passed.
This last thing just occurred to me, I don't want to plug it, but Tim Rooney at the Rec Department, I guess along with their commission, they're looking for ways to, raise a few bucks, a little fundraiser for the rec. They're going to hold a after homecoming party, or a gala, whatever you want to call it. And I have been asked and encouraged and prompted and at one time committed, but I haven't, I backed off from the commitments because I'm still working on crew. What the goal is for us to go tape the homecoming game and the festivities and the parade, and then bring the DVD over to the gala and let everybody show up after the game and re-watch the game and the parade and the homecoming parade. So that's a project, another thing we're working on in October. It's October 11th. So right now, I do not have all the kids that I used to have. In fact, they all grew up, went to college and stuff like that. But, so I'm trying to get a crew together. I got most of it together, but I'm not 100% right now. But that's the project in October that we're going to be working on. And it's basically, we're going to tape the game. We'll show it here, but the initial showing will be right after the game at the party that they're going to raise some money for the rec department.
Ted, is there an age limit?
Interest, willing to work, and if I call it, they'll show up.
But it is, obviously 13 and
I
over,
started,
14 and over.
Like, I think your daughter and Mark and Jeff Girolamo, I started in middle school. They took a class, and next spring I'm going to hold a class for the summer, because right now in the back I have two seniors from Trenton that are in the video class over there and interested in me. They're probably going to be able to stay with me this year, but in the spring I'll hold a class like I did and see if I can get 2 or 3 kids to.
Will you have an editing class?
Well, the problem with the editing class is I have one editor. And if you have 4 kids, and it's hard to keep 3 busy when you're working on one other guy's project.
Ted, you're aware that Groseal has an off-site class for video and TV production?
They go to Gibraltar.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could recruit there? You've done that.
Probably will. I mean, this is
Because
actually.
remember Ryan Kearney went there and
Yeah, Ryan and the other Kieran.
Colin.
But this, I think this is the first year I have had. Right now, I don't have any girls young kids because they all went to college.
Well, maybe we can put something on.
We'll I'll work on it. I probably won't do it between now and the first of the year, but after the first of the year, I'll start that.
Okay.
Start that procedure.
Thank you, Ted. Okay, chairman report. Well, as our liaison said, the results were very good. The board passed the website, and so we have a lot of work ahead for us. And it started the next day. I met with the management team and told them how it starts from the top down. If they feel it's important, the website, their employees will, and it'll feed on that. And what they have to do is start reviewing their web pages. And I'm going to set up a timeline and a letter, and I'll send it out to everybody this week, saying, we need you to review your pages, we need feedback from you by a certain date, and on and on and on. And we have a timeline that we have to establish. The quasi one was 4 months. Let's see if we can do a better job of that. Because what will take the time is us getting the information to them. I have not spoken to Joseph Nagrant since the meeting Monday night, but I plan to, and we will start setting up appointments to figure out design and color and all that kind of stuff, and I will keep everybody abreast of what's going on. One point that I want to point out is that in the negotiations before it went, the bid went to the board, there was an issue of how many people could access content management, and they said after 5 there would be a cost. Well, we now can have 8 and there's no extra cost. So that was good. It's not a lot of money, but it's something. And he was very willing to work with us, and I'm thrilled with his attitude, and I think we all were thrilled. I don't think there's one of us that didn't think they were far superior to everybody else, and looking forward to it. And again, everything with the mobile aspect too. I could go right into the Wi-Fi part, if you don't mind.
I just want to say,
Okay.
don't feel like you have to do everything.
Oh, no. Nobody can do everything.
There's a bunch of other people here
Yes,
that can
yeah.
definitely help you out. So.
Absolutely, and I tend to, but I did want to get it started the very next day, meeting with the management team, and, and our management team is a mix. We have some younger and some older and more seasoned people, and everybody's attitude is different toward technology, and it might not be as high on their agenda as we all feel, but I'm hoping that we can encourage them to share that feeling, because without it, we can't be competitive. So it will be shared, and everything will go out. I'll send it to everybody as I'm doing it, and we'll get timelines going and all that together. We have to. Nobody can do this by themselves. Next, I have been involved a little bit with the Wee Kayak, and so I've been attending a lot of the Rec Commission meetings. And at that, their liaison, Mr. Swales, asked about a website, Wi-Fi for the marina. So I've been investigating, as Ted has, and I think, again, we all feel that it's expected to have it at a marina. You have it at Wendy's, you have it everywhere, and it's a selling feature. The individuals who rent the slips, I think there are 59 or 57 slips, say an average of 30 feet, it's $43.50, so somewhere between 70 and 90,000 of money is generated there. You also get money generated from transient dockage. I know personally, if we go somewhere on our boat, if there's not Wi-Fi, we just keep on going. So this is a selling feature, and and so we were looking into it. The reason I heard the bid at $14,000, I'm at a marina currently that we've been at for many, many years, and for many, many years the Wi-Fi was less than acceptable. This past year, it became phenomenal, and so that's why I investigated who did it, and the gentleman came out here, Neil, and did a little presentation. And Ted, if you could put that picture up so I could kind of show them, and then this one after in color, I can kind of explain a little bit. And again, this is just one bid. As you can see, the marina, what he's done, he's split the bid into 2 versions, for the pool area and for the marina itself. And you'll see the overlapping of the circles. Every time there's a shiny surface, Wi-Fi is reduced, the way it penetrates out, and so he has it overlapping so that in case there is an abundance of people, say on a dock or whatever the dock's name is, it would automatically flip over to an adjacent period. There's only one area through the trees, you can see a little line, that's the only way he can get through the trees with the routers and all that. So it's a very complicated situation, and this is not a bid done by a person who does Wi-Fi and, oh, I'll do a marina. He has done 5 of the the largest marina in the state, which is Jefferson Beach, Toledo Beach, Mac Ray, and there's 2 others. So he's really becoming quite the Wi-Fi person. Again, this is just the first go-round. I wanted to show you, I have no affiliation except that I use his Wi-Fi, and I've been very satisfied with it. The thing Ted pointed out, and I think his numbers were actually low, the gentleman, Neil, has set it up for 255 devices. When we go to our boat, we have 6 devices minimum between 2 people, and I think that's not uncommon. So if you have 57 boats and, you know, the kids and all that, I think that might be low, 255 devices, but that would be all at one time and all that. So this is a very detailed document. I will pass this on to the rec department for their review and their input, and again, this is for, you know, down the road, because I think we all realize that to be competitive, and Water's Edge is a jewel, and we should keep it shiny with, you know, the proper amenities. So it's just something that I wanted to share with everybody, because, and Ted, if you can show the second picture, that's kind of, this is, the second one is more, oh, here it is here. It's more of the, I don't know how to put it exactly, like a backdrop. That's really the way it's set up by computer to get to the routers. And the other way is for the Wi-Fi itself. So it's pretty detailed. There's pages and pages. And I just wanted to share that with everybody to see if there was anybody who didn't think there was a need for Wi-Fi at the marina, since we are the Communication Commission.
Yeah, I don't think that I have a problem with Wi-Fi at the arena. I think where my hesitation comes in is having it coming out of our budget.
Oh, always. Yeah.
Just because, I mean, if really the rec department, first of all, I'd like to have them show us some proof that there really is a demand. While I totally understand,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
they don't have the volume that Jefferson Beach does. I
No.
was just up there a couple weeks ago, and they've got a lot of transient docks and stuff like that. So they get ancillary income, where here there seems to be more of a...
They would get it if there was somebody here. Last night, there were 2 boats there, and I didn't see anybody collecting any money.
Oh, see, that's a bummer.
And it was all I could do not to say, pay me, and I'll turn it in.
Well, that's something that needs to be,
It needs to be addressed, and whatever. And again, you've got Jefferson Beach has 750 slips. And these people pay $43.50 a foot. That's not chump change.
Right.
You know, and there is a lot, and I think that even if it came out of our budget, it could always be a contra item from the rec department, you know.
Yeah,
$2 of the slip money goes to this.
Something like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would only...
a small budget.
No, it's not to be out of our net budget. I would think there's have to be some pass-through, and it would be
Right.
expected. So, I mean...
That would make sense, because if they're going to be, ultimately, they will be making more money because of this.
They will.
So hopefully
Absolutely.
it would help us with the cost of
One would think. This,
one way or another.
there's another overarching problem there too, is that while our revenue stream is not technically tax dollars, our obligation is to make sure that we use our township revenues to benefit the most people. If we're putting in a Wi-Fi connection that specifically benefits the marina clients, then that might not be the best use of that money. So an alternative, and this is something that Lauren, I think, as liaison, you might have to lay the groundwork for, is to work with the township board and the rec department and the finance department and set a policy in place that says, for instance, there's Wi-Fi here, but it's paid for by the users of the Wi-Fi at the marina. So, like you were saying, $2 per boat, you know, but it might be like $10 per boat that contributes to this, that gives them the right to do it. If we work it out that we can use some tax dollars or some of our revenue stream for it, that means the public can then also use it when they come down to the marina, and that might encourage people to actually come down to the marina. So there could be a two-pronged approach to raising, having one as a user fee and one coming out of our budget. The other thing that I want to be careful about is, are there any liabilities associated with us providing a Wi-Fi at a facility? And I think that's something that, we can't answer off the top of our heads.
You just have to have a disclosure that's on your Wi-Fi that says this is a public, and we're not responsible for any.
We can ask the attorney.
Yeah, I think I don't want to go through that whole policy
Right,
we're going to
right.
roll again. But at some point, the board can ask us or the rec department or the marina to draft a use policy for the Wi-Fi, just to make sure that we are protected on two sides, that someone isn't using the Wi-Fi to harm the township, and that passerby aren't using the Wi-Fi to harm the clients at the marina, the users. So,
May I ask you, what would be the difference in providing Wi-Fi than providing electricity down there and pump out and things like that? Because,
Well-
that's the same thing.
exactly, I mean, we don't pay for their electricity,
No.
the users pay for their electricity. I think residents on the island would be pretty ticked off if we were providing free electricity, unless it was rolled into
To their fee.
their fee.
I haven't seen anything, and again, don't have a boat there, but I saw something just today, it said $43.50. It didn't say electricity, $75 or anything, and I don't know if they have another fee. I think it would be
Yeah.
publicized, so maybe they just roll it all in, and they could easily roll it into the fee for the boats.
I mean,
Now-
it's just that, again, the fact that it is, even at Centennial Farm, it's limited access to people using the farm. It's residents, it's the for crying out loud, the equestrian center, the animal shelter. There's got to be a way to share the cost of it so that it doesn't just come out of one cost center, because we don't really have a huge revenue stream, especially now that we're doing a website
No.
and we want to refurbish the room. Our revenues are also going to be tied up. So I think the voters and the residents are going to expect some sort of a cost share between the people using it and the township.
That seems like.
Also, I have a question. Ted was already saying that we do have Wi-Fi there. A network extender might also just suit the purpose for this time period. So instead of just looking at getting Wi-Fi for the marina, we might want to look at the possibility of using a network extender and how that would work with the current system that's there already. And the network extender is not that much. Network extender is $150.
Is that something that's kind of mobile too? That
It's
can be
very
moved
mobile.
From place to place? so
Yes.
that, like, if you look at Centennial Farms being used for elections and things along
Mm-hmm.
those lines, where if there were specific events, you could put it out there for those particular days?
As long as it can make a connection. Because how a network extender works is it has to have a Wi-Fi spot that it can reach out to. It's more like, it's the best way to think of it as a network extender is like a bridge. It allows you to get from point A to point B, but it has to be able to touch that point A so you can get the point B.
Right,
That's what I mentioned through the trees, that one line.
yeah.
He said that's the only place that you could connect between because of the leaves. Actually, the shine on the leaves affects the Wi-Fi, and of course, we've got, all the sticks on the sailboats. We've got the bridge that moves, radar everywhere. I know what radar does to Wi-Fi. It's not pretty. So there's a lot of things, but this is a start, and that's what we're not making any decisions tonight. I just wanted to say, this is a start, and this is a time to start, at the end of the season, not at the beginning of the season, when everybody's clamoring for, oh, we want it yesterday. No. We have plenty of time to digest it, plenty of time to see, as you said, perhaps they won't want it, I can't imagine, but, and go from there. But this is something that we were asked to look into. I did look into it, Ted's looked into it, and we'll see where it goes with it. And I will pass it on to the rec department and the rec commission and see what they say.
Okay, great.
So that's where we're at in that. Okay, that's
If I could just add, you said this is a start, and I also want to say, because having been on the board in the past where projects got going and came to the board late in the game, I think this is a really good time also to start, the board to start asking questions and start getting those kind of things like the policy, the liabilities, the pay stream organized along the same time as we're doing the research.
Right.
And then we'll be ready.
I was just thinking that at some point, once you hear back from the rec commission to see where they're at with
Yeah,
that,
where they're at.
maybe we could have a study session with the full board and just have an initial conversation to say, where is the mindset? What do we need to do?
That's fine.
Sound good?
And here's a suggestion too, with going back to just doing a network extender. You can purchase a network extender and have it for 30 days, and if it doesn't work for your needs, you can return it. So in the beginning of the boating season, you could put out the network extender, see what people's feedback is, and if a network extender meets the purpose for right now, that would be a cost-effective way to provide the service for that area.
Might be better to do it now, this time of year, before the boats go out, because in my understanding, if you do go with high-end equipment, it's a 2-month wait. And I think we all realized, Ted, tell me, how long did you have to wait for the TriCaster, excuse me?
They opened it June 24th, and they notified me the end of July that they finally, the backlog got
Yeah.
mine, so.
So there is a backlog, and I was told it was like 2 months for ordering if you do it like in January. I think if you do it like in May, it's probably 4 months. So this is something maybe we could try now.
Does this network extender have a limited amount of use? I mean,
It's like a bridge, so it depends on,
I understand
it
that.
depends,
I understand how it works, but I'm just saying if
it
you-
depends on what, it's what service the router and the access point that you already have depends on. And it
Can you
also,
run more than one off of a system? Can you run 3?
Yes.
Because it looks like,
I think he's got 5 or 7.
it looks like the way that I.
You can run-
understand it, The Water's Edge has the one Wi-Fi system that goes from the back of the pool to the clubhouse, and it goes into the back of the clubhouse, and actually the peak of the clubhouse stops it from going across the clubhouse to the front. The second system, doesn't belong to us. The second system belongs to Sharkey. So that's it. Well, I'm just saying, could we
You can
do
re-
the roof and
yeah, you can run,
out?
you can run multiple ones. That's what's so good about them. And they're a cost-effective way to extend your network.
So could we make not really a motion, but could we say, ask if Ted and Richard would look into this in the next month to see
Well,
what,
we can look at, I can call Sue.
Do some
and ask
investigating?
about that, But I think, here's, politics always, we're capable, communication, and we can't actually go dictate to REC what they do. So REC is going to have a discussion on this and see if they want to even proceed with this.
Yeah,
That might be a good alternative
That's-
to know, so that
Ted-
Kathy can bring
Like
that
I
to
always
rec.
say, we facilitate what everybody else wants to do.
Well, that's why
I have a question right now. Is Water's Edge Wi-Fi open or closed?
It's closed.
Okay. If it was
If you're
open,
sitting at the pool, you need a password to.
okay, because if it was open, theoretically, anyone could just take their network extender, walk over there and see how well it works.
Well, basically, the reason they got it is to run the cash register out there at the pool.
so it's not for users of the pool to use,
No.
it's actually a business
He said it was
function.
closed, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, yeah.
And we did get a bid for the
Right,
pool,
yeah.
we did get a bid for the pool item. And it's also included, I think it was $1,700 or $1,800.
$1,700.
Yeah, and
Include the pool.
And the 9,000 includes a bump up to handle the pool.
Yeah.
And if they didn't want to do the pool, it'd be about $1,000 less, he said.
So that's like a one-time
Yeah.
cost, and then after that, or there's probably going to be an annual expense for the hosting of that, right?
The hosting, and then the one thing, and I forgot, and I should point this out, most marinas close down after 6 months, so you don't pay for Wi-Fi for 6 months.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, October 15th, gone, and you miss it.
Well, it sounds like, Kathy, too, you got the suggestion from Mike Swale.
Yes.
Who is on the rec commission.
At a rec commission meeting.
And who is the marina representative. I think that in my view, it might be appropriate for you and Lauren as liaison, Tim, Ted as the managers, and Walt and maybe Mike get together and kind of talk about the possibilities, the funding, and all, kind of be a little bit of a subcommittee in a sense, to do the research. Because I think it's something they really want, but
Well, they
it's
brought
also
it up.
something that we're wondering how are we going to pay for.
Right.
I have another thing to interject too.
And then we have the expert.
Or there's the one thing.
I'm not an expert.
Well, you are. I love it. I love it.
I did some information looking when I found out that we were going to be discussing this today, just briefly, and I found out about different systems. One system, which is relatively inexpensive, was $589.99, and that's not even using a network extender because I didn't realize we had a network already there. And then there's the system that was on top, which they don't give a price.
Not if
They said contact them, and they do government, federal, state, and local governments, as well as for companies. And that was the first company that actually showed up when I was looking at a marine search. So there's all different solutions we have, and we should look at, first off, if a network extender, since we already have there, would meet our needs. For example, a network extender, an inexpensive network extender you can get right now at Office Depot is $79. If that meets the needs for what's currently needed there at this time, we might want to look into that. And it's portable too, so if we decide, oh, we don't need it there, we need it someplace else, you just pick it up and you plug it in.
Not to, probably too, but the word inexpensive always scares the heck out of me when I'm dealing with anything here at the township, because, trust me, I have bought quote-unquote inexpensive equipment that 6 months later I'm buying inexpensive more equipment. We have to, how far does this bridge cover? I mean, he came out and measured and remeasured. I don't know what the square footage of the marina is, but I'm sure it would take more than one $79 bridge to cover.
I'm sure it would.
I mean, so then we wind up designing a system that we're not sure what we're designing, and I'm sure if the will of both these commissions is to go forward, that we will send it out for, these are quotes, ideas, that what it would cost. They're not firm, and they're not final, and I'm sure we would go with more companies and give out.
Oh, yeah,
Like
RFP.
with the webpage, we had everything from
3,000?
to 125,000,
Yep.
so I'm sure we would follow the same system. It just scares me that when we would start engineering and building our own system for office max, it just doesn't.
It was just an example.
So,
Well, it's an option.
yeah, I know, but I'm just
It
saying
is an
that
option.
before, what we have to do is decide if we want to go forward, and then we'll send it out to bid.
And I will give a call to the rec department and pass on this information, and then we can see if they are interested, and we can meet with them and talk about the finances and getting it involved too, because, again, if it is part of, if they do want to go with it and it is part of our budget, well, it would have to be a new line item with new funding.
Well, just one other little thing. In October, usually the past administration has dragged us managers in and with a horsewhip and made us tell us all about our budget and where we went, make sure we don't spend too much money and stuff like that. That's probably a good thing. But this October, I'm hatching this idea that I would like to present to the township in Sunport. I am of the opinion that this township needs to have a line item or it has a fire budget, it has a police budget, it has a cable budget. It needs an IT budget. It needs an IT budget because just this year we went out and bought, the trustees are gonna get iPads.
Right.
Which is should streamline. I think the next step is the managers should be with iPads. And that's just, there's computer screens that die, phone system, phone technologies that nobody's ever thought of this, but do you realize our webpage now is going to be way over a $10,000 annual expense? Because we have Granicus streaming and archiving, we have minutes on demand, a monthly fee on both of those, and that's in the neighborhood of $6,000 or $7,000, plus we're going to be paying a company to host it. So it's going to be a $10,000 to $15,000 annual expense, which could go under that IT budget. So as IT starts exploding and continues to explode, and more of our civilians, our customers want us to deal with IT and pay PayPal services and all this other stuff, I definitely think that there should be an annual budget that says, it's, for a better word, IT budget.
Well,
Where does the phones come into play there from the standpoint of who, is that just
There's
an
a phone,
office?
we have a
Under
contract with,
administration.
my phone, it comes out of my department budget, but it's, we have a contract with Sprint over on Eureka there
Or
by,
even like your hardline phones?
That's out of the admin budget.
Yeah,
That's
so it's
general
like, that's the thing, it's
administration.
like all that really should be consolidated into an
there,
IT budget.
there should be an IT budget because, when you buy things, our grandparents bought something, they bought a refrigerator, they were going to die with that refrigerator. Well, if you buy an iPad, you're probably about a year and a half away from
Like a new one.
buying a new one. And then as we get, and it probably won't be me, but as the township board and the managers get more and more IT savvy, and more customers are dealing with this on IT, there's going to be an annual IT expense. And one just got me and Lauren is the one that got me thinking about this. We had a meeting in here a couple weeks ago, and Lauren was out of town. But you know what? Lauren wanted to be part of that meeting. Well, this room isn't wired up to Skype or anything to her the meeting. We don't even have a phone line in here. We have to run a phone line from another room to run in here. So there needs to be more phone lines. We have to have more meeting capabilities. When we had the meeting
Interviews.
with the webpage reps, right? We didn't have the up-to-date facilities in our conference room to have.
but we had them.
Yeah, but you brought your computer in. Well, the township needs to have that capability to, we have a board there we can project it to, but we don't have the projector. We don't have a computer to go in there. So we are behind the times in IT, just the way in doing business. And more of our, and I'm preaching to your youth, is that most of people don't think about that, but youth thought, hey, there's technology that will allow me to I can't be there, but I can be there.
Right.
And
We
you
did
know
that,
what?
yeah.
Participate
And
in that.
we need to get the technology to allow Lauren to do that.
Anybody.
Because the next election, we'll probably have 2 or 3 people more Lauren's age on the board, and there's going to be 2 or 3 people that want to do that.
Yeah, but remember when I went to Germany and we tried to set that up, the hue and cry we got from the other board members.
Right.
So there's also the policy end of it.
But
you
there's-
know.
The human
Open
cry is from
meetings
us
and all
old
that.
guys. All right?
But no, the open
We don't
meeting.
think there's a need. But you know what? And I'm speaking for Lauren, slap me down if I'm wrong, but Lauren didn't think of that as a just as want. She thought that, in her mind, when she does business, that should be there.
Yeah.
And it should have been a no-brainer. But here we were scrambling, trying to find a phone line in here, which we don't have, and running, we went to Radio Shack and got a 100-foot phone line we ran from another room just to get her on the phone, and she should have been able to participate by
What-
video
These
conferencing.
are just for general meetings, not for.
But I was just going to say, for general meetings, that makes sense, but for,
Study sessions,
yeah,
things along
for
those lines.
for township
Day-to-day
business meetings, no.
Right, yeah, you
that-
can't do that.
Where lawyers aren't going to want to come in here to talk, or business contractors aren't going to want to fly into town.
No, you want to be able to teleconference or do a WebEx or things like
Why
that.
couldn't somebody, what we did, my cell phone, my laptop, we were in business.
Well, we did a conference call,
Yeah, I mean,
but it wasn't great because
But the
people had gone
trouble
under
is,
the table.
the key word is my.
yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I can't
are
prepare.
a citizen. You're not an official of the township, and the township, the citizens of this island think that, they demand, and they want their township government to be, they don't want Hooterville.
I would hope not.
They want up-to-date stuff, and we are behind the time. So what I'm suggesting is that we, with the township board, look into, and I don't know how to create it, but they need to create maybe a little bit from everybody. But remember, here's the other caveat. We don't spend all the money allotted to us from the franchise fees. We give it back to the general fund. Well, maybe it's time that practice that started in 2000, 2001, that we take all the franchise fees, put it into communications IT, and if we don't spend it on the iPhones and Wi-Fi and stuff, then instead of giving back 60, 70,000 to the general fund, we take all the IT stuff, throw it into one IT budget, and if there's 10,000, 11,000, 35 cents left at the end of the year, we'll give that back to the general fund.
But that's
That's
something
gotta
that
come
you
through.
and Lauren will have to lobby
That's
for.
why I buttered you
because-
up with your technology
Yeah. I'm
stuff.
calling you the
I'm
kid.
glad that you're driving this process, so you let me know when you want to start meeting.
Well,
and
that's
we'll get going
that's a
on it.
discussion I want to do when we have our October budget review.
Okay, sounds good,
Because I think that'll give us 6 months out,
yeah.
and then we can make a list of all the different IT expenditures, because they're all, and I'm not even bringing in the police and Duncan and Joe, because that's like, you're gonna have to get a taser and get their budgets
Yeah.
connected with us in anyway.
But, like Ann brought up a few years ago, oh my God, this is almost like 10 years ago, we have the 2% admin fee that each department pays, that can also be a funding source for the IT budget, that each department does contribute a portion of its budget toward the IT that it uses.
Well, I'm totally in favor of that. I just think that it's, IT is becoming so important and such a method that more and more of our citizens, like I said at the managers meeting, Wilbur Jones didn't mind, getting dressed and driving over here and paying his, sending his check and paying the cash. Well, Wilbur Jones III wants to sit on the beach in Florida, take a picture of his check and send it to us, and then order another margarita. They don't want to, I'm perfectly willing to come in, but, my grandsons don't want anything to do with that,
Ted,
So,
can I just say one thing about budgeting? When you have a new department or a new function, you set up a budget. Basically, this has been ignored,
oh,
or it has been dismissed as not significant.
It was, until really recently, it was not a big
Yeah,
significant
yeah.
part of
So-
the township.
So now it is.
we resisted it.
There was resistance, and God knows I saw some of it on Monday, or Tuesday. But here's the thing. Why don't we set up a budget? And then the funding for the budget, people have to belly up, be it, people, different departments, you just centralize everything that is technological. I mean, it's time to change, budgets can change, they evolve.
I am 100% behind you, Kathy, but
I've done it.
that word resistance.
I saw
We're going to have to you saw it, we're going to have to chip away
Yeah.
Well, I threatened him with being a stalker,
Yeah.
remember?
Like one of the things I mentioned at the meeting is, think of the hours Rec would save by having PayPal.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna have this interactive webpage, instead of everybody driving over there, they can sit at home, sign up for everything they want to sign up at home, put it on their PayPal, and
Well, they have to show
you know that,
documents.
you've seen her work over there, and
Yeah.
that's a yo-yo.
Yeah, but even parking meters now are electronic.
On me.
I mean, that's even something you could do at Water's Edge when people show up and they don't, pay, you put a meter there. But the other thing that you said about using the entire revenue that we get for the cable, from the cable franchise, the part that we do not get as a commission, that you do not get as a department, somebody else is counting on that money for a pet project in the township. And so the flip side of, saying, well, we need this full budget, is we also need to extract it back from those individuals,
I
and-
totally agree with you, and there's gonna have to be, leadership's gonna have to say, listen, this is 2014, your government from 1995 is over,
Yeah.
and the people of Grosse Ile are starting and looking forward, they're not looking back in any way, and so, I don't know all the technologies that are out there, but there's so many communities that are
Much further advanced than us.
put technology to use, and,
well, it's like Richard at one point said, we want to be Mayberry with an edge.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, what happens now in terms of when there's a necessity for computer repairs in any of the departments or any kind of tech things that need to happen? Where does the money come now?
It comes
to
out of
repair?
individual budgets, it comes out of.
So there is already they're contributing in a sense.
That's why we should centralize it. Yeah, and Cygnus, don't we have a maintenance
See,
thing,
I don't know
Cygnus?
what the maintenance contract is with Cygnus. I had a talk with Dale today, because I come from an old computer guy that worked for customer service for IBM. And the way he explained it to me is that when he went to Chevy, or he went to Kelsey Hayes, or when he did Winkleman's computers, they had a contract with IBM, and he'd go over there and he'd do preventive maintenance and fix things, and he kept the services going, and it was all under one contract. Right now, I think we're paying by the hour.
Wait,
I think we're paying
And by
between
the call.
$110 to $125 an hour. So if I have a problem, for instance, I have all my emails sent to my phone, so I can get up in the morning, get all my emails done before I even get in the truck. But to set that up, I had to call Cygnus, pull a ticket, have the guy call me back. So I know I got charged $50 to set up my phone, because
Well-
it took them 25, 30 minutes to set up my phone.
we could ask, I'm sure Ann would be willing to work with us to say, okay, how much really are we spending on computer-related IT stuff?
That needs to be.
It does need to be addressed.
I don't know if anybody really knows.
And even I could go through last year's budget and just, hammer it out. That's what I did for a living, just see which department, where are they burying all these costs? And she might have something that she can just go to like that with, with her computer and hand it out. And we might already there might be a sizable amount of money that is already addressed at IT, and you would be surprised, nickels and dimes add up, and then we could look at what we want to go forward. This is something that's not going away, and I tried to stress that Tuesday. The technology is here. We have to jump on board, and all the other communities, and I'm going to investigate this, how do they either absorb or charge for the PayPal? Or whatever, however they get their taxes
A lot
done.
of the cities have their own IT department, or
Right.
their own like I know Riverview has Kim, I don't know his last name, but Kim is the guy's name, that he's in charge of IT at Riverview.
But one point, and this is something that I hadn't thought of, my husband did, half of all the tax bills are probably done with, a one-check thing from the different mortgage people. It's not like the individual, it's not like, you're Howard or what, you're coming in and paying by cash. Most of those are, whatever, most of them are done by check, so that's not an issue. That's done automatically, and that's not going away as long as people have mortgages, which I think a lot of people do. So the other part of the population, which I would think it's at least 40 to 50%, that's where you have your people walking in or whatever. And how do we address the cost? Because nobody with a $20,000 bill for their real estate is going to give you $600. It's not going to happen. They're too smart for that. So we've got to find a way. How do the other communities do it? Obviously, they're all over the country. They're doing things in different ways. So I'll just start making calls.
Well, like I know Ann Arbor, if you get a ticket in Ann Arbor at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can go to the computer and pay your ticket.
Yeah.
You know,
But somewhere that
It's just-
2 or 3% is being absorbed some way, somehow, added to whatever, it's built into the fee. There's some way that is that's passed on, just like when there's an increase in gas with the truckers. Do you think they pick it up? No, we pay for it. It's just passed on somehow.
we've always, and I'll say this about the government that I've worked for in time past, is the township government here has always tried to keep the extra away from the citizenry. They have done everything possible to keep costs as low as possible and not raise fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the mentality of the managers in the department is not to pass those stuff on. So that's another thing you gotta, careful with.
Well, everybody else passes it on.
Yeah.
So,
It's a convenience fee for me. I don't mind paying $1 or so. Just to be-
Well,
That's you young people.
Time is money.
It is.
And
Sometimes.
And I didn't mean to slander anybody else up there, but
No, it's
just
all good.
pointed out.
yeah. Anyways, do we have any other business, any old business? Public comment?
Well, I guess we're the old business, according to Ted.
Well, Ted, just remember who remembers your birthday every year. Okay, so much for that. All right. Our next commission meeting is October 9th. I hope everybody can make it, and a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And no opposed. All righty. And we are adjourned at 8:25. And be careful going home, guys.